Yep.
Oh. Kid Fortune out.
Grandma good. Chuck. On the ass.
Grandma.
On the ass.
Did you mean that?
And we agus is che. And China bra. Agus che. So this is your office.
My workhouse.
The workhouse. Don't mention the word workhouse, is that? Workhouse is a bad name in Ireland.
Workplace.
Workplace, that's it, yeah. Workstation is the nice name for it now, yeah.
Workstation, no?
Workstation, yeah. That's what they call it. You got to have a proper workstation. So we have this is your home sweet home. Now, Father Mc Greal, where will we begin? When was this house built?
I don't know exactly, but as far as I know, it was built around 1860 or before that, maybe 1850, I don't know. But I know my grandfather was born here, and he was born in 1860.
So it was.
And when this house was built, Michael Hersey told me, he had the Lord to mercy on him, dead a number of years. It was the biggest house in the village at the time. And it had a half holding of land going with it.
What was in a half holding?
Well,
Many
there were
acres.
6 acres around the house and about 80 acres of commonage.
And the commonage is up the side of Crowpatrick.
It's gone up on the William Green. And then my father bought Conway's, the other half holding. So we now have 52 acres around the house and 164 acres of commonage.
So would you be considered a fairly big farmer at that time then?
Well, you'd be considered strong enough with the 2 half holdings.
Hmm.
But we'd be the same as everybody else. I looked at the rent books for 1828 and our names weren't even mentioned. It was Peter Connor and others in Lord Sligo's rent books. So my grandfather then was Big John.
Really?
He was the son of Padney and the son of Kitty Conway, who lived down there across the road from us. And he was a bit of a rebel. They always associated him with the Fenians. And I know when he was working in England, he was arrested for carrying out 2 jobs. And then he came over here and he married Catherine Mortimer from back in Durlas, behind the Reek.
Mm-hmm.
And she died very young in 1912. So this house then, he was here on his own and he reared his family. Well, some of them were fairly well on at the time. And then my father was the oldest son. Well, my family are here, I'd say since almost the 18th century.
Hmm.
Because there are pre-famine ruins behind this house.
Mm-hmm.
So this house then would be a post-famine building. And it was built in, as I say, around 1860, and it is a typical house. I lived in this house from 1936 until 1946. I went to school in Brackloon School, and I walked in and out to the Christian Brothers from here.
You walked in and out?
Yeah.
How far is it?
Because there was we couldn't get tires for the bicycles during the war.
How many miles is it?
It's about 3.5 to 4 miles,
4 miles.
depending how you go.
8 miles a day, more or less.
Yeah, and then you had to go up after sheep. In the morning we had to go up after sheep and you had to go and collect the cows. And everything was long distance. Yeah. We were like mountain hares, really.
And how many children were in this house?
We had 6, and we had my parents, and there was an old woman as well.
A relation?
Yeah, she came in here, Annie Conway, she would be related.
Hmm.
Well, she was a widow of a relation. There was a big settle bed here, and there was a room down there, there was a loft over it, and there's a room up here. And the teenagers are put down there, the males, and the female, there's no female teenager in my youth. My parents live back in the other room, and then there was another bedroom in there. My father put in that bedroom. That was a bedroom.
Over in the corner there, yeah?
Where the kitchen is now.
Yeah.
And that was a back kitchen then where the toilet is now.
Over there, yeah.
Yeah. So that we lived here during the war.
And you had a collier here?
We had a collier until 1935.
You might explain what a collier was.
A collier was an extension there, just the width of a double bed and a few feet in front of us.
And it was all beside the fire, was or close to the
There,
fire?
the corner.
The corner.
You see there inside where the brush is?
Yeah?
You can see the track of it up on the wall there.
Oh, just beyond that, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the old people used to end their lives in that. But then they were always, the kitchen was the living room and everything. And all cooking was done on the fire.
That's a very big fire. This is a big house. As you said, this is a big house.
Relatively a big
Compared to the other old
Yeah, oh, it was.
cottages around the place, yeah.
As I told you, it was seen as the biggest house in the village one time.
And would there be any reason for that now, or did he just thought big? They thought big, was it? Or,
Well, the family size.
and would they have extra money to?
Well, we were never known for having money until my father got a car in 1924.
Well, there weren't many cars in 1924.
No, but they got that from the company.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I was born in a forest, you know. He was cutting timber up he was cutting the Slieve Bloom Mountains at the time. And he built a log cabin. And two of us were born in it. Then he'd move to the next forest and bring the log cabin with him. And then he got appointed sort of a regional manager. He went to Portumna, Portland. And so I went to primary school in Portumna. The thing too about me was that I did my first communion at 5.5 years, because the Bishop of Clonfert made a rule: you did your first communion, came to the reason, irrespective of your age. When I came here, Joe Maher said, you couldn't have done your first communion. And I remember my mother wrote a letter to him: "Dear Mr. Maher, as long as you're educating my children, don't say they're telling lies until you have the facts. Please find enclosed a copy of their certificate of their first communion." And he said, "Oh, the Connemara woman can write," because my mother came from Connemara. But that was great times. Mar was a good teacher, but he was a rough man at times, you know.
Do you see over there? There are two alcoves beside the fire. Where were they?
That's the kayak. No, that's the hobs.
The hobs.
That was the men's fob, and this was the woman's.
So they sit in there, yeah.
You sat in there, yeah.
It must be lovely and warm in there, was it?
Oh, it was,
You're back to it.
And
So you got involved in it then in the restoration.
we left this house in 1946, and we bought a place down in Drummondoo. It was General Joe Ring's old farm. We bought it from Elsie Ring. But we kept the house here as a stable for some time. And then my father was putting a roof on the hay shed, and he took the roof off the house here. He had a galvanized roof on the house, and it was roofless. So it became a pen then for sheep. And I was here one day with him pulling sheep. We were shearing. And I I examined the walls, because the barges were left on the gables, and I tested this wall. And I remember saying to him going home, I said, "You know, Dad, I'll re-roof this house." And I said, "It's wrong that we're only saving the houses of the big shots. Nobody's saving the houses of the ordinary people. These are stone houses, vernacular architecture, the Mayo cottage, etc." And he said to me, "It's all in your imagination."
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, "Dad, everything begins in the imagination." And then he said, "All right, I'll buy the material." And I organised here with the neighbours and a few lads from Prospect, and we built it. You can see everything is irregular. It's not built like in the room.
But
And
that's
we put on a felt roof on it first. And then we had a hurricane wind one night and it took the felt off it. And then Chris Grady said he had some material left over that they used for roofing factories and houses. And that's the type of roof that's on it now. And it's on the top of it.
is it galvanized on the outside, is it?
It's not galvanized, it's this new stuff that we have in factories.
Okay.
It's iron.
So there isn't, you can't hear the rain at night much.
Now you hear it bitty.
Not too severe, no. So this is your library.
The library's down there.
Yeah, I see
The
that.
room. And it's there behind the thing. But this is a work, I've written an awful lot of books.
How many have you written?
I have written a trilogy on prejudice. And one of them is over 600 pages. They're all over 500.
And how can you write 1,600 pages or 2,000
And I
pages?
only write, I cannot type.
You cannot type.
I only write longhand. You can see the manuscripts are down there. And then
What did the publisher say when you arrive up with this big massive paper and it's
we have a person who takes them over and types them and prepares them, and I feed into that person.
and would you have to change them much now after they go to the publisher, or they take them as they are?
Oh well, I wouldn't change anything for anything. Take that book there now, that one there, you see it.
And the ongoing present,
My
yeah?
memoir. That's the last one I published, 2014.
And what age are you now?
Huh?
What age are you now?
I'm 87 now.
Are you planning any more?
Oh yeah, I have. Sure. See up there at the top of under the brown box.
Yeah?
That's the beginning of another book.
That bundle of documents there, yeah?
Yeah. And but since I took over Gower 13 months ago, I had no time to do it, so I took a holiday from it.
And what drives you?
What drives me? Well, I asked the Lord for one thing, to be healthy enough to work. I never went on a holiday in my life. I think holidays are bourgeois constructs.
But you go abroad now to get to
I go to conferences
the conferences.
and things, but I could never waste time. Honest to God, no, I'd have to be...
Oh, I believe you, yeah. Isn't it fantastic at that age to be able to do what you're doing, you know?
Well, I suppose the gift is that the brain is, that I'm not gaga. And so I asked the Lord to keep me from being gaga. But I suppose if it comes, it comes. I say it's like